Chef. Many modern day young adult novels on the surface seem to lack classic literary archetypes. An example is the book I am currently reviewing, Schizo by Nick Chef. It is Chef's first fiction novel, and he has generally been a writer of nonfiction. As of right now, he has released two memoirs about his own life and things he has been through, one of which went on to be a New York Times best-selling book. Schizo, on the other hand, is a novel that follows a schizophrenic teenager, Miles, in his day-to-day life in search of his brother who has gone missing. Months prior to Miles' search for his brother, the police had already stopped looking as the trial had gone cold. But Miles is determined to find his brother, even if it's the last thing he does. This being his first work of fiction and relatively unknown, Chef does an optimal job, even if subconsciously, applying literary elements and archetypes to work in his favor. Given Miles' disorder, it's difficult for readers to fully develop their own opinions and characterization of most characters other than Miles. There are other characters like his close friends, Jackie and Preston, or his therapist, Dr. Frankel, but they are not very well developed because Miles is so hell-bent on finding his brother, who has been missing for months. The book is set in San Francisco during the fall, which is the perfect setting for a novel like this one. The weather in San Francisco during the fall is generally muggy, foggy, and rainy. The temperature ranges from 55 to 65 degrees on average. Not too warm and not too cold. This fits the tone of the book. In this review, I will be referencing Thomas C. Foster's New York Times best-selling book, How to Read Literature Like a Professor, a lively and entertaining guide to reading between the lines. The most direct connection between Schizo and How to Read Literature Like a Professor is that outlined in the first chapter of How to Read Literature Like a Professor. Every trip is a quest, except when it's not. Chef's novel embodies all of Foster's given characteristics of a symbolic quest, which are A. A quester, B. A place to go, C. A stated reason, D. Challenges and trials en route, and E. A real reason to go there. Foster, 3. The protagonist Miles, A. Takes a journey to Ocean Beach, B. In order to find his missing younger brother, Teddy, C. But must skip a few classes from school and navigate the city without being caught playing hooky, D. Only to find out that everything about his situation is not as he had thought it was all this time, E. The next apparent archetype in Foster's book that is majorly applicable in Chef's Schizo is Chapter 9. It's more than just rain or snow. Throughout Schizo, rain plays a key element in setting tones and evoking moods. But in some particular instances, it serves as something symbolic. It is purification, but also as stated in How to Read Literature Like a Professor, one of the paradoxes of rain is how clean it is coming down and how much mud it can make when it lands. Foster, 71. This is directly applicable in Chapter 22 of Chef's Schizo. Rain is falling outside, and I can hear it like static, loud across the rooftops. Water drops bead and sweat from the cracked ceiling overhead. But tonight, we eat and are happy. Chef, 142. Miles is in a warm mood, believing he is close to finding his brother, stating things like, "It's gonna get better, I promise," and explicitly stating, "Teddy's coming home." Chef, 142. This confidence and relaxed attitude are refreshing for Miles, a usually nervous character. Little does Miles know about the metaphorical mud this rain is soon to produce for him. The third chapter from How to Read Literature Like a Professor that rings true in Schizo in a major way is chapter 11, More Than It's Gonna Hurt You, concerning violence. In chapters 36 through 39 of Schizo, driven by the voices occupying his mind, the protagonist makes the decision to self-harm. The world will be better off without you. Cut with a knife, the voice whispers to Miles. I decide to cut my right wrist, and so I do as it says. I take the knife in my left hand and cut into my right wrist. Miles narrates in response to the instructions and statements given by the voice of his disorder, Chef 207. In Foster's description of violence, he states, one of the most personal and intimate acts between human beings. It can be symbolic violence in literature, though while it is literal, it usually means something else. 95. Miles' self-harm does in fact have a deeper meaning. Chef included this scene to show just how much control over Miles' schizophrenia really has, and how loose a grip on reality he has. This act of violence is to show that Miles is not really in control, but his disorder is. The next two chapters from How to Read Literature Like a Professor, with elements playing a key role in Nick Chef's schizo, are chapters 19 and 20. Geography Matters, and So Does Season. Chef's schizo is majorly impacted by geography. Miles' brother was lost on a beach, not in a mall, not in a forest, but on a beach, with sand and sun and ocean and waves. This is significant. Beaches wash things away with the waves crashing against the sand and dragging more sand and items back out. The beach is no coincidence. It is likely part of why Chef chose California for the location of the book in the first place. It also serves to create irony, as California is often thought to be bright, sunny, and happy, but as depicted through this novel, it is not. The season plays a role as well. It is fall. San Francisco at this time of year is very foggy, and fog in literary works is for mystery, to hide things like the whereabouts of Teddy, Miles' brother perhaps. The final chapter from How to Read Literature Like a Professor, significant in the development of Chef's schizo, is number 23. It's never just heart disease, and rarely just illness. After all, the entire novel is centered around a 16-year-old boy who suffers from schizophrenia. Concerning illness, Foster states, it should be mysterious in origin, and it should have strong symbolic or metaphorical possibilities. 223 to 224. This is true for Miles and Schizo. Schizophrenia is one of the psychological disorders, which are not fully understood by everyone, thus making them mysterious. It is often in the book also used to symbolize Miles' loose grip on life, as stated in previous paragraphs. When I first began reading Chef's Schizo, I was skeptical. I disliked the book, given that it did not seem to give very much insight into the mind of a person suffering from schizophrenia as I had hoped. Even halfway through the novel, Chef failed to make it apparent how his disorder was so significant to the plot, and it seemed like nothing more than the average teen read. Near the end of the book, there was a plot twist the book definitely needed, which altered my entire view of the novel and heightened my appreciation for it. The general theme for the novel would be the cliche, everything is not always what it seems. And my advice to future readers of the novel would be to not get too comfortable. For readers looking for a novel that is less about the protagonist's journey, in this case, Miles searching for his brother, and more about the protagonist dealing with their diagnosis of schizophrenia, I would recommend Nathan Filer's The Shock of the Fall. Though I have not yet read the book myself, I have only seen positive reviews on it, and its descriptions are right up that alley.